Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Freedan with Team Stream Team. I am going to be showcasing different archetypes today. I'm going to be using nature for each of the archetypes. So today we'll be playing a aggressive nature list, a mid-range nature list, and a control nature list. And I'm just going to go over some of the differences between each of these archetypes. Hi, this is on a live stream. Hi, hello viewers, welcome everyone live and who will watch the clip later. So this is an aggressive list. Aggressive lists are characterized by a very low mana curve, which means that you're going to see a lot of 1, 2, and 3 cost cards and fewer high-end expensive cards. So notice that there's nothing more expensive than 5 mana. It tops out there. 6, 7, 8 mana, 9 mana, nothing. The goal of an aggressive list is to finish the game as fast as possible. So that's our aggro list here, and I will be showcasing this in the game. We will also be showcasing mid-range and control lists. So let me play a game with the aggro list and just show you a little bit of the strategies behind it and how we win the game here. So for aggressive decks, we want to be putting out as much pressure as possible. The best god power for putting out pressure right now is Animal Bond, so I will pick that. Now here comes the mulligan. So notice this 5 mana creature. 5 mana creature, too expensive for my opening hand. So I'm replacing these. Bladefly, too expensive, replacing that. And then I'll replace one of these. I'm hoping for a 1-drop. I want to put something down immediately. Right off the bat, I want to throw down a creature. As an aggressive list, I'm also hoping to go first, because the first player gets the tempo advantage. So let's see. Okay, my opponent is going first, but that's okay. So I'm thinking I'm going to start with a Pyramid Warden. It's unfortunate that I didn't get a great opening hand here. Alright, yeah, let's do the gold Pyramid Warden here. Alright, so from here on out, it's pressure, pressure, pressure. Just keep playing things, keep hitting them in the face. Trades. So there are legitimate reasons to trade playing an aggro deck, but one of the decisions you need to make with an aggro deck is when is it valid to trade? Most of the time, you want to just be hitting your opponent in the face. You don't want to bother with trading. Most of the time. Okay, my opponent is also playing aggro. Okay. Go. Alright. Just hit him in the face. So I could have taken a risk and played Canopy Barrage here. It was a 50-50 chance to hit the Switch Duelist. But if the Canopy Barrage had hit this 1-1 Selfless Guildmate, I would have lost so much tempo, game would have been over. So the best play was to just put more creatures on the board here. Now remember, I'm trying to kill my opponent as fast as possible, so rule of thumb, generally whatever applies the most pressure in this particular case, that's what I'm going to play. Perfect. Alright, so now it'll bring back one of his creatures. Alright, now the Canopy Barrage is actually going to be a viable option. Or I could play the Bladefly. Okay, so check this out, right? Glumdruid, your confused creatures get +2 strength. So instead of playing the Canopy Barrage and trying to kill his creatures, I'm going to stack these Bladeflies, and then next turn, each of the Bladeflies can potentially get +2 strength. So let's take a look at what my opponent decides to do. If my opponent is playing it safe and trying to be cautious, they will start trading and getting rid of these Bladeflies. If they don't play it cautious, I give every confused creature +2 attack and hit him for a boatload of damage. So this is another aspect of an aggressive deck, which is finishers. Most aggressive decks, you want to have, you really want to have one or two. Like you want to have one or two ways to just deal a ton of damage to your opponent, like finish the game. Hence the term finisher. Okay, it looks like my opponent has very wisely decided to trade here. That is a good call on their part. Yeah, okay, so they were smart here. They traded, which means that I can't have my spectacular blade fly turn, unfortunately. Alright, so there's a few things I can do. I think I'm gonna do this. I'll try to kill the Dart Maniac. And then I'll go ahead and kill his. So notice now that I'm trading, the reason that I'm trading right now is because I'm an aggressive deck versus an aggressive deck. So since we're two aggressive decks playing against each other, and we're both relatively high in HP, this game is really going to come down to... It's going to come down to who can retain a board presence. So I hope that... I plan for that to be me, that maintains the board presence here. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going... Now, thankfully for me, my God Power is actually very helpful here, because I can continuously spawn creatures with my God Power, whereas my opponent actually has to pay for it. Okay, this looks like one of my opponent's finishers, the Sneaky Bruiser. Unfortunately for my opponent, I happen to have a counter for that. Okay, so now I'm going to grab this out of the Sanctum.
Enjoy your stay.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Agrante. Appreciate it. There we go. And let's just take away his relic. Okay, so now, as an aggressive deck versus an aggressive deck, aggro decks don't tend to have a lot of removal. So as I continue to stack the board with more creatures, my opponent is going to fall further and further behind. Ooh, Manticore. I think instead of playing the Manticore, I actually just want to kill this deadly creature. Okay, let's see where this guy goes. Oof. That's not where I wanted him to go. Alright, this is fine. Alright. So again, being able to summon a Badger each turn is helping a lot. Manticore is one of my top end cards, so Manticore will be pretty handy here. Can kill the Dart Maniac and deal more damage to my opponent. Alright, I have to actually think pretty carefully here. Let's do this. Go. And the Badger, I'm gonna risk it. There we go. Nice. Risk paid off. Okay, let's grab the Ruin of Strength. So my opponent is now at 7 HP. I have board control. Now, they could have been sneaky and maybe snuck in some board clears in their aggro deception deck. But since it's an aggro deck and it seems to be aimed at dealing as much damage as possible, I might be safe here. Yeah, so I'm not worrying too much about trying to play around board clears. I'm just putting as much pressure down as possible. Yeah, so some of these aggressive decks, sometimes you can win the game by turn 5. Didn't quite happen this time, but you're hopefully seeing some of the dynamics of an aggro deck. Alright, my opponent is thinking. That's a good one. Get a big front line down. Okay. So now we may be in a little bit of trouble. Let's see. If I deal 4 to this, it goes down to a 1-2. Yeah. I think my best bet is actually to do this. There we go. Okay. So let's give that a whack. My boar does regen, so the boar doesn't, so I can't just die to an Orpheo's Distraction ping. Yeah, the the Guild Enforcer is a very fortunate drop for my opponent here. That is, that's a big pain, but I can still get past it. I think the worst thing that could happen right now is that they Umber Arrow my Nightleaf Trapper and throw it into the Wild Hog. That would be incredibly sad and unfortunate, and would probably cost me the game. Okay, that's fine. Not ideal, but fine. So they're probably going to kill one of these two. If they haven't already used Orpheo's... Yeah, they haven't used Orpheo's Distraction yet. So they'll kill one of these. Or not. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Alright, well, this is a clean Lightning Strike. And a clean Ruin of Strength. Perfect. Alright, yeah, this is good, this is good. So now I'm going to hit him in the face for 3. So notice that I hit him with the higher attack creature here. There we go. Healed this. Perfect. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. We dealt with the front line. I could throw down another Guild Enforcer, but I can get through a second Guild Enforcer with this board. Okay. There we go. We did it. That was aggro. So that's aggro. Win the game as fast as possible. Be as aggressive as possible. Next, I'm going to move on to Midrange. Now, Midrange is kind of something, it's kind of in between aggro and control. The goal of Midrange depends on who you're playing against. If you're playing against an aggressive deck as the Midrange deck, then you want to play in a control style. So against an aggressive deck, the mid-range deck is going to just be trying to control the board, trying to stall until they can put down their bigger threats. Now, against a control deck, a mid-range deck is going to try to win the game as fast as possible because the mid-range deck doesn't have the gas to keep up with the control deck. So a mid-range deck is very flexible. This is the advantage of a mid-range deck. This is a little tricky. I think I'll do Animal Bond here. Okay, maybe, just maybe. Okay, so this is definitely going to be an aggro deck. We're looking at Soulburn. It's a very aggressive god power. So again, with mid-range, against aggro, I'm going to be the control deck. Against other mid-range decks, it depends. And against control, I'm going to be the aggressor. So I'm playing against aggro, so I'm going to be the controlling player here. Going to try to clear the board. I'm just going to try to be very efficient. There we go. And perfect. Yeah, so we're just gonna put some stuff down and make sure that my opponent doesn't get any board advantage here. Oh, Necrosceptor. That's a good one. Kill it. There we go. Alright. I'm going to play the Stag here, so I can get the Bronze Servant. Reduced by 6 as their favorite set to 12. I think, you know what, I'll take 3 extra damage here for 9 favor. I'll do it. I have to be a little careful, because the whole point of my opponent's deck, they're in the aggro deck, so remember, they're trying to get me to 0 health as fast as possible. So I do need to be careful about taking damage, but the favor allows me to grab Bronze Servant and break their relic here. And their relic will become a problem if it sticks around too long. Okay, that's potentially quite dangerous, especially with my confused creatures. So this card gets a buff each time a god takes damage, which means I really don't have much of a choice but to use Lightning Strike here and to kill it, because my creatures are confused and they could potentially buff that thing up very, very high. Yeah, so that's our best bet here. We will kill the Necrosceptor next turn when there's no Fickle Cambion. Right, so again, I am controlling the board here. I'm just trying to trade off, make sure my opponent can't have any board advantage. And since I am mid-range, I have a little more juice here. I've got some board clears as well, which I didn't have in the aggro deck. Okay, zombies. Lots of zombies. Alright. This turn definitely is the turn to break the relic, since each of these zombies removes favor. Breaking the relic allows me to generate more. So, first things first, let's trade. Let's see, hopefully this, yeah, there we go. Alright, this is a 50-50 here. Nope, missed it. Alright, that's fine. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now here's something interesting. As a mid-range deck, sometimes you actually want to switch your strategy. So maybe you were playing a very control style before, and you want to actually switch over to aggro. Now this turn might be a viable turn to switch over to aggro, but I think I'm going to stick with the control playstyle just a little bit longer. Yeah, so there's a decision to be made there. There's a real decision to be made. That was a perfect trade. Yeah, I could have gone for the face there and tried to kill my opponent as fast as possible, but I decided to take out their creatures and play as a control deck instead. And it looks like that was the right choice. Cool. So there's mid-range for you, very flexible, not quite as explosive and aggressive as aggro. But yeah, you can change up your style for it. So there you go. I'm going to go on to the next archetype now, also with the same domain of nature, and that is going to be control. Personally, I love the control archetype. I'm a little bit biased towards it. Nature is not the best domain to play control in, but you still have some tools here. So again, control is trying to stall and play some big threats. So notice that the mana curve in this deck is way higher than in the mid-range deck, right? And in the aggro deck. We're topping off at 9 mana here. So we do have a good amount of 1 and 2 drops still, but the deck is much heavier. You know, much more expensive cards in the top end, much more board clears, double the hunt. You got 2 lightning strikes, a Selena's bow for repeated clears. Yeah, this is, yep, just the one Demogorgon here, because it's a very funky control list. This isn't necessarily the most optimized control list here, but it's a lot of fun, and it showcases Control's game plan of stall the game and then play your big threats. Okay, so hopefully we get to see a 9-drop come down here. Control decks are really the only decks that can play the big, flashy, super expensive cards and get away with it. So if you ever see a card that's like it's 9 mana and it has this crazy, crazy game-winning effect, that is something you're going to be playing in a control deck, not a mid-range deck, definitely not an aggro deck. Control decks are also notorious for being a little more expensive for that reason. And this is mid-range.
Enjoy your stay.
Okay, I'm still going to go with Selena's Mark. Thank you for the follow, US Samatonics. That's quite a name. Quite a name. Alright, control nature versus what might be mid-range. I think this will be a good illustration. Okay, right off the bat, we throw down our 1-drop. Now, don't get me wrong about control decks. Control decks do have early game. They have to have early game. If a control deck is lacking early game, they will never, ever survive. So, yeah, very, very important for a control deck. to still have some early creatures to throw down. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I think that is worth a lightning strike. So my opponent here is playing Amazon Nature, it looks like. So Amazon is kind of what you could call an aggressive mid-range deck. So it is a mid-range deck that skews towards the aggro side. I think it's time to get the Selena's bow out here. Now, it looked like I'm in a good position, and I kind of am, but my opponent could definitely flood the board with some pretty gross creatures. And they could buff the Amazons by quite a lot. So I'm not completely out of the woods here. There we go. Just keep controlling the board. Okay. Nice. You know, I think I'm going to, yeah, I'll use the bow durability here. Since my opponent seems to be playing aggro, as long as they have no creatures. Oh, thank you for the raid, Nicola Piccola. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. We're doing a bounty on archetypes right now. Oh, here's the Jason. Man, I really wish I could have played this against a control list. Control versus control. So Jason here puts 3 extra creatures into your deck. If you're playing against control, value is actually very relevant, which is it's not so as relevant with some of the other archetypes. So having 3 extra giant creatures in your deck is actually quite helpful. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play the Jason here. So check it out. I'm gonna put 3 things in my deck. I'll do Triage Necromancer's pretty good. Avatar of Death will be super annoying for an opponent that's trying to fill the board. And Parthene Proscenium. Yeah, Parthene Proscenium I think is the best here in this lineup. Cool. I have the Hunt to clear. I have a second Hunt to clear. I have a Demogorgon here which puts the board to sleep and heals me. Yeah, I think we're good. Oh, that was you the last game? Yeah, that was too much aggression for me to deal with last game. Alright, so here's another one of the pitfalls of a control deck. Notice that I can't really play anything because my hand is pretty much all removal. So this is why a control deck is slow. Most of my hand is stall, it's removal. So I'm just waiting for my opponent to do something. Control decks tend to be more reactive, whereas aggro tends to be more proactive, as does midrange. Yeah, so control, you're largely reacting to your opponent's plays. Oh, there we go. That's the Hunt. Not too bad. Okay, maybe if we're lucky, this game will get to turn 9 and I can play a Dionysus. I really, really hope so. I really hope so. That would be incredible. Hey, that's not too bad at all. Very, very solid. Okay, let's play a Demogorgon here. All right, now this River Jumper Captain didn't the ward, which is that blue circle around it, keeps it from going to sleep. So the River Jumper Captain can attack. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. There we go. Yeah, this is what I mean with Amazons. They can really make some strong comebacks. Okay, so let's take a look at the health totals here. There is 10, 13. Okay, so I can deal 3 and then there's 10 left over. So probably the best thing actually is to lightning strike the River Jumper Captain. Okay, so because these other things, they're not really a big threat to me. The River Jumper Captain actually is a big threat. So I'm going to take care of that first. There we go. Really just trying to mitigate the damage as much as possible, which we're doing quite successfully right now. There we go. Very good. Very good. I doubt that they'll have a lot of more explosive plays like that. Okay, we're looking at 9 damage on the board now. Or 9 health, not damage, 9 health. So the hunt deals 8. And I do have Selena's mark, so this is pretty easy math here. 1 damage plus 8 is 9, and that's a board clear. Yeah, that's over. Okay, that is a control deck. So strengths of the control deck, it's the ability to control the board, to clear, and then as you get into the late game, you just get more and more powerful cards, and you win. There we go. So that are the 3 archetypes. There is aggro. Aggro is low mana curve. Goal is to win the game as fast as possible. Get your opponent down to 0 as fast as possible. Mid-range is a mid-tier mana curve. Usually tops out anywhere from 6 to 7 mana. And mid-range's playstyle is dependent on your opponent. If you're playing against aggro as mid-range, you're going to be controlling. If you're playing against control as mid-range, you're going to be aggressive. Control decks, their aim is to stall the game as long as possible to then play their gigantic threats. A control deck is reactive and has a very heavy mana curve. So yeah, that is the 3 archetypes. And we could also get into a 3rd archetype, or I'm sorry, a 4th variant of the control deck, which is a combo deck. A combo deck aims to deal 30 damage in a single turn, but combo deck is basically a variant of control. So as a bonus, there really is no combo nature deck, but as a bonus, we can do a combo magic list. So a combo list is kind of like a control list. A combo list is aiming to get their combo off they're aiming to get their combo off and deal 30 damage in a single turn. Combo is like kryptonite to control lists, because control lists are trying to stall the game, and a combo list is trying to put their combo together. So against a control list, the combo deck basically has all the time in the world to put together the pieces and to pull off their combo. So yeah, this is, so I'll showcase combo. Combo is kind of like a 4th archetype. It's kind of its own thing, but I can consider combo to be a variant of control, just a different one. Okay, clear mind, clone. You can play against you if you want the video. Not having casual mode is a pain. Yeah, it is. It is. I think I might just take you up on that offer. I might just take you up on that, Nicola Piccola. Let's just see what we get. See what we got here. Ooh, this is looking like control light. Okay, I might have finally found my matchup to make this work. I don't need 2 Librarian's Prayers. Oh, it's Agrante. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I was misreading. Lysander Spear. Okay. Also really bad if it's allowed to continue for too long. Hmm. Okay, I'm taking a bit of a risk here, but I actually think I want to keep some of this removal. I'm in a pretty dangerous spot with the amount of damage my opponent's outputting with Lysander's Spear. Yeah, so I think I really want to keep some of this. Just try and mitigate the damage. Honor, you think I'm doing a disservice by dodging the Road Back to Mythic video? Or the Road Back to Mythic run? Oh, I might do it at some point. Just not now. Not now. Maybe at some point it'll happen. A lot of gold players. Think of all the core packs I could win playing in... yeah. Okay, is Lightning Talisman even do much? Oh. Oh, there's the other Warp Engineer. What do I get here with the 3 or less? Okay, let's do Recovered Knowledge. Let's get the Librarian's Prayer. And then we can clone the Warp Engineer and Librarian's Prayer for the Dralamar. Yes. Okay, I think that'll work. Still a lot of damage, but okay, so clone Librarian's Prayer. Clone Librarian's Prayer, yeah. Clone Librarian's Prayer, which will get me 1 card, which needs to be Dralamar. It's got to be Dralamar. Okay. No, 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 no. Don't want any of these. None of those. Oh, look, a 3rd Warp Engineer. Just what I needed. Come on. Okay. We've put so many cards in the bottom of our deck now, I feel like we actually have such a high chance of getting Dralamar. Like, we really have a good chance of getting Dralamar now. It's be kind of ridiculous if we don't. Alright, I'm down to 15. Let's see what else he plays. Alright, come on, man. Come on, give me the Dralamar. Don't do this. I put so many cards in the bottom of my deck with 4C earlier, and now... Okay. There she is. Or he, I mean. Alright. Reduce. Reduce. Do I want to be cheeky and reduce it again? Alright, is there... I'm wondering, is there any play that I could make that would save me a little HP here? I think the answer is a definitive no. It is a definitive no. Unfortunately. Yeah, so let's just do this. There we go. Yeah, I was trying to see if there was a play I could do that might save me some health, because I'm a little worried about burst right now. I am looking at 13 damage on the board, and if he has Canonize or anything that gives him +3 damage, then I lose. So, yeah, so I agree. Yeah, that's all I could do. But ideally, I would have played like a protection on my character, or I would have killed one of his creatures if I had that option. Okay, so here's the combo. I've now reduced Dralamar down to 0. You reduce Dralamar. Dralamar refreshes mana equal to the mana cost of a spell. So you reduce a Dralamar down to at least 2 mana. You play it with Ether Snap, which summons 2 Ether Bugs, and that refreshes the cost. So you play that with Ether Bugs, it refreshes 4. And then each of the Ether Bugs does 1 damage per spell that you play. So you play that with a ton of card draw. And yeah, then you just win the game. Because you just keep drawing cards, dealing damage, and on and on. And yeah, I am going to clone the Dralamar first. So there's a couple of ways that you can pull off this combo, but I am going to do this one by cloning Dralamar. So when I clone it, it refreshes double mana. So this is a combo deck. Notice how low my health is. Combo decks really, really struggle against aggression, like badly struggle against aggression. All right, so we are able to pull off the combo now. So I'm going to kill off these 2 because I need full board space for this. Now I'll play Dralamar, Ether Snap for the Ether Bugs. Now notice it's going to refresh 4, and this one's going to refresh 4, so that's 8 mana total refreshed. Now I'll play Ether Snap again, and again it will refresh. And now I will play Equivalent Exchange. Equivalent Exchange obliterates 2 cards in my hand. Actually, I think I should Tracking Bolt first. I'm going to Tracking Bolt first, so that way I just obliterate the 1 card. Deal 3 damage. There we go. Boom. Okay, so now I'm gonna clear mind and make sure that I can get some card draw with the Equivalent Exchange. Okay, so I want Recovered Knowledge and Equivalent Exchange now. Remove, okay, obliterate 1, and then I'm going to draw 2. Okay, draw 2. Perfect. Okay, so now I'll draw 2, get myself some card draw, and so on and so forth, and I'll just keep playing the card draw, drawing cards, dealing damage until I deal 30. So there you have it. That's combo, Variant of Control. Very, very slow, but also devastating because you can deal 30 in 1 turn. There we go. And yeah, I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm just gonna keep drawing cards, keep dealing damage. There we go. Now, the biggest weakness of a combo deck is that it's just very, very vulnerable to aggression, even more so than a standard control deck. There we go. Yep. And now I'll play draw a card. Yeah, as you can see from my opponent's emotes, they're having so much fun watching all of this happen. So much fun. Yeah, the music is quite fitting. And Librarian's Prayer, and for Librarian's Prayer, we just really want to make sure that we have a bunch of card draw. Yeah, so we'll just do this. Foresee. Just get card draw so we can deal a ton of damage. It's taking a surprisingly long amount of time here. There we go, Magic Inks. I had the Magic Inks oh, it doesn't matter. He's still going. He's gonna die whether I go infinite or not. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. And there you have it. That is a combo deck, my friends. That is every single archetype. So hope you all enjoyed that, and I'm going to get to editing this so that it's not 2 hours long.